What's going on, man? It's your boy Jay Holley, and we are back with another episode of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley, episode 74. 74. Thank you. You are far too kind. You could have been anywhere in the world, but I am so glad you are here with me. I am Jesse Holley, the sports talk equivalent of Braille. People feel me when I speak. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. You can catch me on all your platforms, man. You can catch me on Apple or Spotify. I'm definitely on YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. Follow Fanatics Views. Follow Unfiltered with Jesse Holley on Instagram, on YouTube. Do all of that. Put me in your group chat. Let them folks know about me. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling, man. We were just talking about some things that we might be having coming up in the future. I'm here at Playmakers every Monday and Thursday. That's right, Playmakers, Michael Irvin's restaurant in the Colony. Make sure you come out here and check the games out. Monday Night Football. They got the baseball games. They got MMA stuff. They got everything rocking and rolling here. They got drink specials. They got food specials. I tried something like a week or so ago, right? What was it? It was the fried deviled eggs with the shrimp on top. Chef kiss. So come out here, man. Check out the food. And you never know. You might catch Mike in here. You might catch me in here. We just sit here laughing that I'm sitting in Michael's office while he's on TV and I'm talking trash about him because I don't understand his new look. He got the sweater over the neck with the tie type thing. I'm a foul dude. How am I sitting in his office, in his space, in his restaurant, and I'm watching him on TV and I'm talking trash about him? That's all good. That's his brotherly love right there. That's what you can do that when you got that type of brotherly love, man. All right, man, you guys know how I like to get down. I like to get my motivation at the beginning because most of you won't be here at the end. I'm not for everybody, and that's cool. But here's what I got. Once you carry your own water, you will learn the value of every drop. Once you carry your own water, you will learn the value of every drop. So many times in life, especially when we are young, I remember my grandmother, she, this is old time. This is before debit cards and Venmo and all that kind of stuff. My grandmother would always carry cash. That was the mode and way that you had to pay for stuff. And Grandma, can I get $1? Can I get $2? Can I get this? Can I get that? And she would say to me, I don't have any money. Now, to my young eyes, to my no bill paying eyes, you got money. I just saw it. I'm looking at the money. But in her eyes, she said, yeah, you see money, but that money's already spent. Because sooner or later, you're going to get hungry, and I got to go buy groceries. My grandmother, she used to have the oil man come and put oil in the house to run the furnace. Sooner or later, you're going to get cold, and the oil man is going to come. And he's going to have to put oil in the spout for me to heat up this house for you. Sooner or later, the lights that you click off and on will need to be paid. And so all of these different things I never quite understood because I wasn't carrying my own water. And now that I am an adult, I fully understand what it is to carry your own water. So things like my time, things like my energy, things like my knowledge, all those things now have a value to me. Because I know what it is to carry my own water. So every single drop matters. And so I tell you the same thing. Allow yourself to have that value. And don't allow other people to lessen the value of your drops. Because they didn't have to go, as a young kid say, get it out the mud. That's why a lot of times when I have to do things, yeah, I'm gonna put a cost to it. Not because I'm trying to just, get money out of people's pocket. Nah. I had to pay for that. I had to pay for that. my sweat equity, my blood, sweat, and tears, my time, energy, and effort, my sacrifices. Those things are the drops that you value. So while you're building those things up, while you're carrying that water, understand the values of those drops. And don't let nobody play in your face about them. All right? All right, man, let's get into this thing. The Cowboys are off the bye. Whew, we're back to football. I said this the other day and somebody got mad at me. They're like, "Why you always got to be so negative, Jess?" I said, remember there was a time in Cowboy country where you would get nervous anytime the Cowboys had a bye. You get nervous anytime the Cowboys had a little bit of free time off. Because those folks couldn't stay out the precinct. They was always getting arrested, pulled over. Something was happening. So it's good that we're past those days. But the Cowboys are back from the bye. They're getting ready for a big, huge Sunday night football game. Just a little bit of a note. The Cowboys should be getting some players back after this bye. Micah Parsons spoke, and he kind of said it's still up in the air, but he may be trending towards coming back and playing. That's a good thing. DeRon Bland, another one. They haven't given a definitive on him yet. He's now been 8 weeks since he had his surgery on his foot. He should be a guy maybe trending back. And those are other guys who may have some injuries. Tyler Guyton, who was dealing with the knee before the bye. Hopefully he got a chance to get healthy. So you're gonna get Kalen Carson. You're gonna get a bunch of guys potentially coming back off injury. I hope that helps because they have a big game this Sunday night against the Niners. Who, if we're being honest, while the Niners are the Cowboys' nemesis and their boogeyman, if there's ever a time, in a moment in history where the Niners may be a tad bit vulnerable, now's the time. Now is the time. I'm not saying that the Cowboys will win. I'm just saying if there was ever a time where the Niners are reeling a little bit, some injuries and some other things, now might be the time. But it's going to take a collective unit to do so. But before we get into that, I want to just recap something Troy Aikman said last week. That's right, that Troy Aikman, the 3-time Super Bowl winning, Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman, I'm going to read this verbatim because I don't want to mess this up, right? I don't want to mess folks' words up. So I want to read this to what Troy said. Of course, Troy talked about last week on his weekly spot on a local radio station here in Dallas, The Ticket. Troy said, "I think the routes are terrible." Speaking of the Cowboys receivers. He says, "I think they run terrible routes, and I've thought this beyond this year. I think CD, in particular, has to improve his route running." And he went on more to talk about it, how guys are coming off the line of scrimmage lazy and how guys aren't running their route if they feel like they're not getting the football. And so, of course, the guys were on the bye week, and some of them heard it and some of them sat with it. And Mike McCarthy, who was on the podium today, he had a chance to respond to Troy Aikman's comments. And Mike McCarthy said, Troy's statement in particular, "I don't agree with the word selection. I don't agree with the word selection." I'll continue. "But there is definitely a need for improvement in every position, not just one position that he commented on. So I think you look at the whole picture and you break it down, and that's what coaches do. That's a process. There's a process to it. There's always a plan." I want to read that first line again from Mike McCarthy. He said, "I don't agree with the word selection." Never in that statement does he say, "I don't agree with what Troy said." He said, "I don't agree with the word selection." And when Mike McCarthy talked about this, and it's more, I'll address the Mike McCarthy one first. I don't agree with the word selection. And maybe that's the word terrible, right? Maybe there's a word that he says certain things, but the statement overall. Because then Mike goes on and he says, there's definitely need for improvement in every position. Like, this is media coach speak saying, yeah, Troy, you're right. A little bit harsh in the word that you probably used, but I'm going to put this thing as a whole and we all need to improve. But I think Mike was trying to cover his tail. Because at the end of the day, this is Mike's offense. You are the offensive coordinator, and you're the head coach. So if all these things, when you start talking about, it's one thing when you start talking about players. Players, I exclude Mike from that conversation because we know that that's Jerry and that's Steven, right? They make it known that they're the guys who handle building rosters, drafting, trading, signing. So I take Mike McCarthy out of that part. But when we start talking about effort, when we start talking about accountability, when we start talking about things like that, scheme, that's on you, Michael from Pittsburgh. That falls squarely on your shoulders. So while Troy is talking about the receivers, you come in defense because in essence, he's talking about you too. He's talking about you because you're the thermometer. Like, you're the thermostat of this thing. You control the temperature of this team, especially offensively. Big dog, you got to find a way to get this thing right. This one sits squarely on your shoulders. When you start talking about receivers and effort and things like that, this ain't got nothing to do with Jerry. In a sense. This has something to do with you. This has something to do with the coaches that you hired. Because I'll continue to say this. There's two things that are happening. You're either allowing it or you're coaching it. Because it's not just CD. I think Troy used CD because he's the wide receiver one, right? He's the catalyst. He's the guy in the forefront. But I think it's others as well. And how I know it's others is because it didn't just ruffle the feathers of Mike McCarthy. Locker room opened up today, and I don't want to get words incorrect. So, in addition to Mike McCarthy commenting on the Troy Aikman comments, so did one Kavontae Turpin. And Kavontae said, Troy, whatever he fake think he know outside the building, that's his opinion. But in this, we are all in here together. We're trying to be better and we're trying to be better and do what we do to get a win. There's moments in time where sometimes you got to go and get big bro. Or you got to go and get big homie. And Kavontae, I don't think this is a conversation that you should be having. I get it. I get it. I get it. You come at one, you come at all of us. I understand it. But you have to understand the position that you put yourself in. You're not up in the ladder high. I come from a time in a place in history where there was a grown folks table at family events, Sunday dinners, cookouts, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter dinners. There was a grown folks table. Now, that was a grown folks table. Things was said and talked about at the grown folks table that grown folks talked about. And then there was the kids table. That was a table where until you arrived at a place to be at the grown folks table and have those grown folks conversation, auntie, your mama, your uncle, for sure your grandmother, your grandfather, they sent you over there to have kid conversations. And this feels like when Troy's speaking, that's grown folks table conversation. When Troy is saying certain things, because I like to believe Troy has an eye for these type of things, may have been around the block a time or two before, that's grown folks conversation. Mike McCarthy commented on it. Mike sits at the grown folks table. You got to go get the big homies. Like this is a response comment for Dak Prescott. CeeDee Lamb. Because he said CeeDee by name. So if you say me by name, then I get a chance to respond. If he choose to do so. Kavontae, my guy. Don't know if this is the conversation that you should be in. That's grown folks table conversation. Your table's over there. You either gotta go get big homie and let big homie know, hey yo, they said this about us, big homie. Or go get big bro, like, man, big bro, they talking about us around the corner. And let them circle the block and address the comment. And this is the part of the problem somewhat in today's society that we live in, is sometimes just everyone feels that they have room to speak on certain things. And you're probably sitting here, and if you see this, or anyone's going to see this, you're probably going to say, well, Jesse, who the hell are you to speak at it? Oh, I'm media, so technically I get a seat at the big table. Ain't no little bro in me, dog. But there's just certain things I just feel like you got to have a certain level of je ne quoi. What is it? What he said is je ne sais quoi. Whatever that saying is. You got to have a certain level of, you just ain't quite, you're not big table material right now. And I say that respectfully, with all due respect, Kavontae. This isn't about me trying to disrespect you. I'm just saying that let the big homies handle that. When Troy speaks about a matter, and I get it, he said the receivers, and you fall into that category. But you're a couple rungs down in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a few folks ahead of you that might have a better chance at having a prosperous comment. I don't think that's your place in that. But who am I, right? I'm just a media guy, right? I'm just an undrafted guy who got in the league off a TV show. Cool. That's cool. But I'm always going to feel how I feel, and I'm always going to say what I'm going to say. I just don't feel like you ain't big table. You ain't grown up table yet, conversationless. You still, grown folks, they got the ribs and stuff. You got hot dogs and hamburgers. Y'all just, the levels are just not there. Like, whatever. You got to say what you want anyway. But that's just how I feel about that. But hopefully these are comments that Troy makes that got the attention of Mike McCarthy, that caught the attention of Kavontae Turpin, and I'm sure many others on the offensive side. You may hear Dak when he speaks. You may hear CeeDee speak, because they're going to ask CeeDee. Troy mentioned CeeDee's name. They're going to ask CeeDee. You'd be a bad journalist if you didn't. So either CeeDee's going to respond or have no comment. Either Dak's going to respond or have no comment. If you really want the messages, if you just really want the messages, Dak and Troy, they got a friendship. And maybe they had a cold beer together or conversation together, or maybe Troy reached out to Dak and had a conversation. I'm not saying that he did. Not saying that he did it. If you just want messy Jess. Because sometimes you use other avenues to speak for what you really want to say. That is the way of the 2024 athlete. The days of you and I sitting down man to man, face to face. Not everybody has those anymore. That trend, that level of cloth that people used to be cut out of, that ain't. Nah, they got to send a DM or a subliminal tweet or an emoji or a TikTok or something like that to express themselves. I'm being honest. Like that's the way of communication for a lot of the younger athletes in today's generation. I'm not waving my fist and saying get off my lawn. I'm just expressing how things happen in 2024. They rather go that route than come directly to the man and go, yo, me and you got an issue. You and I we need to sit down and we need to hash this out. We need to have this tough conversation. That's just not the way of the land. It isn't. You even have grown folks now, right? The once people who you looked at as OGs, they've fallen into the trap of the social media, subliminals, and all that kind of stuff. Instead of coming right to the source and say, we got a problem. Let's have a conversation. But if I'm being messy, Jesse, I'm saying that maybe, possibly, that these conversations they had, and Troy was just like, hey, this is what I feel. And sometimes, you know how somebody be like, oh, yeah, that's like what my family say, what my friends say is not indicative of what I really believe and feel. Okay. Yeah, because somebody that spends that much time with you and is around you this much and you guys share, intimate conversations and intimate time together and all those things together. Yeah, you've never heard them say that before and they've never heard you say that before. So what they say, you're right. It's not indicative of what you believe in here and all that kind of stuff. So I get it. Sure. But that's just me if I wanted to be messy, Jess. Sometimes that's just how they function. They get their word across through the media. And now that it's been out there, I'm sure Dak is probably like, if we're being honest, Troy might be onto something. Just saying. I'm just saying. I don't think that Dak would have a total pushback on the things that Troy said. Yeah, maybe he goes, the wording you used was a little bit harsh. But Dak, who we all know takes hella heat for anything that goes wrong offensively. He throws an interception. Damn you, Dak. It's $60 million bum. Incompletion. Damn you, Dak. $60 million bum. Lose a game. Damn you, Dak. $60 million bum. Guys don't go out there before they're supposed to bum. Damn you, Dak. You took $60 million. You ruined our team. And again, we live in a day and time where film is available to everybody. And while Troy may be watching other games, his heart is a Cowboy. So I'm sure in his film watching time, he may pop on a tape or two. Or while he's studying another team, he might have, he's watching Baltimore as they get ready for a game. You don't think he probably watched one of those? He went back a couple games and watched Cowboys versus Baltimore and looked and go, what are these receivers doing? If I was a quarterback, I'd be bleeping them. That's poor effort. That's bad effort. That's this, that's that. But anyway, that's being me. That's being messy, Jess. Coming out of the bye for the Cowboys, I'll ask you, and you can leave the comments in the chat. What do you want to be different? Like realistically, right? Like to say, oh, Derrick Henry, that's not realistic. He's not coming. Like Derrick Henry is not going to be here. Or, we should have traded for Devontae Adams. No, that's not realistic. That Davante's not going to be here. He's in New Jersey. Or we should have got Amari Cooper back. Well, unfortunately, that's not happening. He's in Buffalo. So, like, you leave in the chat, what are you looking for the Cowboys to do differently as they come out of this bye? Well, Mike McCarthy has said that one of the things that they're going to do differently is that they're going to basically put a more focused emphasis on team, meaning in practice, they're going to eliminate some of the individual drills and spend more time doing team drills. Now, understand why that's significant, because under the new CBA, you only have a certain amount of time allotted to practice. Like, you'll get fined. You'll have days taken away from you. If it gets egregious enough, they'll take draft picks away from you if you're practicing longer than the allotted time for said practice. So for the Cowboys, they feel like, we need to get better in team situations and team scenarios. So they're eliminating the individual drills in practice and spending more time with team, which, to be honest with you, they're in a no-win situation right now, because one of their biggest issues are the individuals and the individuals in their technique, right? Of course, you go, essentially first to the offensive defensive line, right? Those guys have some serious technique deficiencies. Blocking, getting off blocks, things of that nature. So the individual drills is to help you enhance those little things that you got to get done that will ultimately help you when you get into the team setting. But the Cowboys have been so deficient in different things during the team period. They're cutting out individual and spending more time in team. And one of the things that I feel like, and maybe we may just walk down a couple of things and we'll talk more later on this week. But for me, the Cowboys have to get better in the red zone. And this is just, if I wanted to, the list could be this long. Right? I could have a scroll and just let that, a CVS receipt. Y'all know how them CVS receipts get. But the first thing for me with the Cowboys, because they trailed in so many of these football games, and honestly, they haven't had a lot of issues moving the football up and down the field. Here we go. The Cowboys right now, red zone offense, they are in passing. They're 9 for 22 with 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the 6 games. They're bottom 30 in red zone scoring percentage. Meaning when they get in the red zone, there are only 1 or 2 teams that are more worse than the Cowboys at scoring a touchdown. Now, if you're spending more time in team and you guys are working more significant plays to get guys open in the red zone, all for it. But if you're just repping those same old things that ain't been working for y'all in the red zone, then we're just beating our head up against the wall and expecting it not to bleed. And this is when you get guys who don't want to fully participate in your game plan. If you're putting things out there that they're not really interested in doing because they've done it and it hasn't yielded the success that they thought that they would yield. So for me, I want to see the Cowboys be different in the red zone. And maybe that means running the football more and the style they're running the football. I wish I had all the answers. If I did, I promise you, would not be sitting here with y'all. I'll be making Jerry pay me a bunch of money. He'd be cutting me a check to figure out these woes. But the Cowboys, when they get in that red zone, man, I like Brandon Aubrey. Cool story, cool dude. But I don't want to see Brandon Aubrey this much. I want to see Brandon Aubrey kicking extra points. 9 for 22, 4 touchdowns, and 2 picks in the red zone. Can't have that. That's boo-boo. And the Cowboys are going to find themselves anywhere within a fighting chance of possibly winning this division. You got to score touchdowns. for a multitude of reasons. You don't lead in games anymore. Now what ends up happening is you become one-dimensional if a team gets up on you. You don't give your defense enough cushion to play around with it. They have to make everything so dire need because you're not giving them enough cushion. You're not giving them points like you used to. So now what their teams are only doing, just run the football. Just run it down their throats. You're not allowing your strength, your pass rushing on defense to ever become a realistic thing because teams don't have to pass much on you. Or they don't have to take the 7-step drops or the 5-step drops, just 3 steps and get the ball out because it's usually 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, second and 6, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4. You got to score more points. When you get to the red zone, what you've been able to do. And the red zone is so critical because everything, we talk about timing and we talk about precision and we talk about guys doing what they're supposed to do. It's so critical because everything happens so fast in the red zone. You don't have that much time, right? The back of the end zone is out of bounds. The sides are out of bounds. So you're really playing 11, 12, 13, 14 on 11. That affects you. So guys don't have to worry about defending the rest of the field. Everything happens in this small box. So I'm hoping that the Cowboys will use this time in the bye week to get better in what they want to do in the red zone. It must be fixed. It has to be fixed. I think that then in return, if you get a lead, you get up 10 points, you get up 7, 14 points. What happens now is the opposing team has to change what they do. But you've put no threat in not anyone that's competitive enough to do so. So for me, what I want to see, and I'm going to look in the chat to see what you guys say when this comes out. But for me, off the top, it's red zone. And like I said, I can be here all day. I only got like 45 minutes to an hour, so I don't want to tell you everything. But point number 1, red zone scoring offense for me. The Cowboys have to be different. They have to be better in it. They have to figure out Mike, Dak, CD, offensive line, Tolbert, Ferg. Where you at, Ferg? Where are you at, my boy? Where are you at? I know that you got to chip and you got to stay inside and help block because our tackles are bad, but got to show up, man. Got to show up for this team. Cowboys take on the Niners this Sunday. Boogeyman. Will the Cowboys ever be able to overcome their fears? I won't give y'all the impassioned Uncle Ronnie speech that I did a year ago. That didn't work. But I know we're in the Halloween season. You got to find a way to beat Freddie. You got to find a way to take out Michael Myers. Jason got to go down this Sunday. You cannot let the boogeyman scare you anymore. We'll see. What's going on, man? It's your boy, Jay Holley. That's right. Former Dallas Cowboy receiver, winner of 4th and Long with Michael Irvin, and host of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. If you're watching this video, guess what? You can be a part of this show too. You can have your ad here or here or here or here. Anywhere you decide that you want us to put it. We can have a ticker tape. We can have it on a shirt. I can put it on a hat. I just want you and us, you, together. Let's find a way to get your brand and my brand on the platform. We stream everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all over the place. I need you. You need me. Let's work together. Like teamwork. Everyone achieves more when we work together, baby. You need to be a part of this. I'm telling you, get on the ground floor because yesterday's price might not be today's price. All right, man, let's go around to the rest of the sports world. It was a big Saturday in college football. Big Saturday in college. Now, listen, I got no dog in the fight. Literally. I got no dog in the fight. Texas found out that SEC a little different. And listen, that's okay. Texas got a little whooped up on. They got a little whooped up on by Georgia. Number 1 Texas fell in Austin this week to Georgia. And I think what the Longhorns learned, life is a little different in the SEC. And life in the SEC, while it's littered with great skill players and it's combined with a lot of good different things and quarterback play and running back play, what Texas found out was in the trenches is where it's won. And I think Texas has a lot of good things in place. Georgia said defensively, we're going to maul you. And they did. They did. And they had, whether it was Quinn or whether it was Arch, they had those boys like, I see dead people. They thought they were seeing ghosts. And maybe we look back in this in January when they playing for the national championship or however the 12-team thing are going to go, and we're going to say, all right, Texas figured it out. But this was their first test. It didn't go so well. The good thing is you get a retest. You'll have an opportunity to potentially maybe play them in the SEC championship game and then maybe possibly play them somewhere along the line. However the polls may fall, play them in the what it's called again? The playoff. And then maybe in a natty. I don't know. But round 1 went to the seasoned vets. And I think we were all riding as as a nation. Because sometimes we're like, when Texas is good at football, Miami's good at football, like things are just different. Like football, college football feels better. And Texas was trending in that direction of, we can rock with the big dogs. And I love what Kirby Smart said. Kirby said, we didn't come to take pictures, to deal in all the pregame hoopla. He called out the network and said, all of y'all picked against us. He said, our sole focus was we wanted to come here and eat. And the dogs went hunting. They did. And they took it personal. They took it personal. And it's just a reminder that, like I said earlier, there's the grown-up tables. And then there's the other table where you ain't quite got there yet. Not saying that you far from getting to the grown-up table, but I think Georgia just showed you from top to bottom, just like, hey, when we don't got this going on, this can hold us down. And Georgia has been building programs, and Kirby Smart has been building that program because it had to go against the Alabamas of the world, the Nick Sabans of the world, the LSUs of the world. And that's just different than what Texas had to deal with in the Big 12. I'm not saying that the Big 12 was finesse, but the SEC dogs. You know what I mean? Especially the Georgias, the Alabamas, the LSU. Like, that's a different level of dog. And so sometimes you got to get in a dog fight to realize my bite's not big enough for this fight yet. And I say yet because I do think Texas has a lot of good things happening for them. But Georgia just showed you that if you're going to win this here natty, if you're going to be a part of this here conference, you got to have a little bit bigger. Your bite force You got to be up in your bite force ain't quite there. Your bite force ain't. You nibble. You ain't tearing flesh just yet. Texas falls to number 6. Go from 1 to 6. Georgia moves up from 6 to 2 in the rankings. And again, remember, guys, 12-team playoff this year. So Texas still in it. There's going to be maybe even two lost teams that make it in from the SEC, because that's just the way the conference goes. There's going to be probably 2 teams that make it in that have 2 losses from the SEC. Right now, Oregon sits atop of college football, but long season, and things can take a turn. But Texas learned early on that we're not quite ready. And, oh, by the way, not only did Texas take the L on the football field, the university and the athletic program also took another L. If you watched the game, you saw when they made a call that the Texas fans begin to throw debris onto the football field. Well, that's just not going to go unpenalized and unpunished. And I don't care how much money you got. Losing money always hurts. When you got to lose money for nothing at all, like that always hurts. We were laughing and joking before the show about when I got fined back in the day with my Cowboy days. I lost 10 racks. I cried. Like, I legitimately shed not thug tears, baby tears. Like ugly cry tears. Like, yo, $10,000 gone for being 30 seconds late. That's the hard part about it. But Texas was fined $250,000 for their fans throwing things on to the football field. Oof. I know it's long money down there in Austin, but $250,000 for throwing stuff? I bet that won't happen again. All right, man, moving right along. Some major injuries in the NFL. I would say right now the head and shoulders Rookie of the Year leader, Jayden Daniels, left the first quarter of the Commanders versus Panthers game with an apparent rib injury. Now, his mother came online and she said he okay. If mama say you okay, I'm going to say you okay too. Coach came out and said he's kind of day-to-day, week-to-week. Don't know what they're going to do. I guess they took a precaution because they were playing the Panthers and were like, we don't need you, Jayden. Marcus Mariota, go in here and handle our light work. And they put a 40 burger up on the Panthers with Marcus Mariota. But we'll know about Jayden Daniels more as the week goes on. Another massive injury. And this took a wild turn. Because of the person that it happened to. Embattled Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson went down with a non-contact injury in the game. When you watch the replay, you kind of saw what we all saw, and you saw the calf do like this pop action, and the results came back that Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles. He'll be done for the year. And I am in the player fraternity, right? I'm in the NFL player fraternity. So the one thing that we never, ever, 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 ever do is wish injury upon another player. And I wouldn't do it for Deshaun. I wouldn't do it for Ray Rice. I wouldn't do it for, you name the person, Buckner or Bucker, whoever. But there's mixed feelings about this, and I try to be fair. I do. I try to be fair. And so I think two things can be true in this instance. I or you, and I'll speak for myself, I can feel bad for the player because injuries are just tough. You get to play this game for a short amount of time, even if you play 10 years. It's still a short time in the grand scheme of life. And you try to maximize your talent as best as you possibly can so that the profits that come back to you help you set up your life, your family's life, your future family's life. And Deshaun Watson achieved it. He got a $230 million guaranteed dollar contract. But the Deshaun Watson name, while it's an injury that happened on the football field, it's tough to separate the person off of it. And while I feel bad for the player, the quarterback, the teammate, I do look at what Deshaun Watson has been charged with, what he's settled out of court for. And off the field, Deshaun Watson hasn't been a model citizen, to say the least. And he had his teammates come out and Jameis Winston, probably the most intentionally funniest person alive, definitely in a football uniform. He goes to bat for his teammate because the fans did boo. As Deshaun was going off the field, the fans booed and some cheered that he got hurt. I think they took it too far. To boo a man while he's down hurt, I think you took it too far. Dog pound? I do. Because, and I get why you're upset. You expected Deshaun Watson to come in and to be the franchise-saving quarterback, to bring some relevancy, some positive relevancy back to Cleveland, to the dog pound, to put you back in contention, to make you a contender in the division and ultimately for the Super Bowl. And has Deshaun Watson lived up to that? The answer is unequivocally no. But Cleveland, dog pound, the Brown fan base, a lot of you, when Deshaun Watson came over from the Houston Texans with all of that baggage, remember Deshaun Watson signed with the Browns and he still had like 25 pending cases. And y'all cheered him. And you celebrated him. And you went at folks that was going at him for his off the field transgressions. Yeah, y'all did. Y'all, the Brownies, the dog pound. Because you looked at the player and not the person. You thought the player was going to come and give you something that was more valuable than what the person could give you. And you cheered him. And you barked at folks who talked about his off the field activities. And now that the person, and now that the players' play has been as ugly as the person's transgressions, you boo him. And for that, dog pound, I call you a hypocrite. And I say shame on you. And that y'all took it too far. Because for a long time, y'all wanted to separate the player and the person. And if you cheered for him when you got him, don't boo the man while he's down. The things that he's dealing with now, he was dealing with then. The off the field stuff. And you welcomed him with open arms. Because your sports fandom was greater than your morality. And the things that you should have probably been standing for. You allowed your sports cheers to be greater than your human character. So for those of you who cheered and bought jerseys and held signs up defending the person's actions because you thought the player would give you sports satisfaction, you're a hypocrite. And you should be booed. And you should be mocked. And you should be crucified and ridiculed. I'm not for kicking a man while he's down. But you brownies, oh, you dog pound. I thought dogs were loyal. Man's best friend will turn his back on you when you don't feed him. And you guys showed us that firsthand. Deshaun didn't perform. And you guys turned your back on him. And now you want to bring up his off the field stuff. Shame on you, Browns fans. And it's not all of you, but it's damn sure a large majority of you. I don't do much baseball, but I'm doing baseball. The World Series teams are here. And I don't know what God or deity that Rob Manfred prays to and the baseball officials pray to, but their prayers have been answered. You could not have asked for a better World Series. Yankees, Dodgers. The marketing writes itself. Baseball, who I've consistently kicked in the nards about their inability or their lack of showcasing and profiling the star players of their game. Well, this gives you the stars of all stars. Like you literally get the voting's not out yet. You're getting the two unanimous AL and NL MVPs. You're getting Shohei. You're getting Judge. You're getting international. You're getting bi-coastal. You're getting New York. You're getting LA. You're getting two of the most iconic brands in your sport. And not only do you get Judge and you get Shohei, you get Soto. You get Mookie. You get Yamamoto. You get Garrett Cole. You get Freddie Freeman. You get Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, you get Rizzo. You get all these different players. You get 5 former MVPs that'll play in this game. You get the 2 teams in Major League history who's been to the World Series the most. Yankees 41 times, Dodgers 21, 22 times. You could not ask for a better outcome in this. You definitely get 2, maybe 3 Best hitters in baseball? Shohei for sure. Judge for sure. Do we put Soto in that conversation? You put Mookie in there. You can say John Carlos. What I'm saying is that the baseball gods could not have asked for a better Super Bowl. Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl. This is the MLB Super Bowl right here. This is like you get two of the biggest media markets in sports. And I think the biggest thing is like I'm in the DFW. And the Rangers, until a king is crowned, technically are still the World Series champs. I'm just saying, if we're being technical. But they didn't give you the star power. Right? Rangers, Diamondbacks, that just you didn't know. Like, unless you were a Diamondbacks fan, unless you were a Rangers fan, it wasn't given what needed to be given. You know what I'm saying? To be watchable. Even a casual fan's like, wait, Shohei's playing? I'm going to tune in. A casual knows the name Aaron Judge. You know those guys. You know what you're going to get from the Japanese fan base when you add Shohei and Yamamoto. And the Yankees have just their brand alone is an international brand. It's a world recognized brand. People are wearing Yankee hats in Tokyo, in Japan, in China. This gives you, it gives you watchability even if you're not a diehard seam head. And I wouldn't say that I'm a diehard seam head. But when you have this much star power, you got to tune in. Because you don't want to be the one that missed Judge hitting a 7,000-foot home run. Or Shohei doing something, he's hitting 3 home runs in a game, right? Or whatever. Like, this has the potential and the makings for historic TV. And so, again, I don't know the deity in which those guys pray to. You could not have asked for a better matchup. I don't care who you cheer for. I don't care who you cheer for. You couldn't have asked for a better matchup coming out of the AL, and you couldn't have asked for a better team coming out of the NL to have to play in the world. And if we're being honest, like, baseball is reeling. Like, baseball is probably like the fourth biggest American sport. I would say NFL's king, college football's next, NBA, then you get to MLB. This is going to do numbers. This is going to do absolute numbers. This is the 12th time that these two teams played together, played in the World Series, the first time since 1981. You're going to get the coastal thing, right? Like y'all thought Biggie and Tupac was, y'all thought the East Coast and West Coast. Like, you get that. Like, 100% you're going to know that when the Yankees play at home, you're going to hear, I'm from New York, New York. I got 100 guns, 100 clips, right? You're going to hear that. You're going to hear Alicia Keys and Jay-Z, in New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made. You're going to hear that, right? And then for sure, when you go to the West Coast, you're going to hear, they not like us. They not like us. Kendrick Lamar, right? You're going to hear that. Oh, you're going to hear California Love. You're going to hear that, but you're for sure going to hear Kendrick Lamar. And you're going to hear the LA version of, you're going to hear LA, big city of dreams, and everything in LA ain't always what it's like. You're going to hear that, right? Snoop's going to be out there, right? You're going to see Snoop at the games. You're going to see Magic at the games because he's an owner. And of course, New York, Jay-Z will make an appearance, right? Cameron and Jay-Z got an old New York song. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to hear all of the coastal songs being played. You're for sure going to hear Kendrick Lamar being played. The streams for Kendrick Lamar will go up. Ja Rule, if you need a little bread, the streams for New York is getting ready to go up. But this MLB could have asked for. They couldn't have asked for a better situation. This is going to be, I think it's going to be phenomenal. Like, I do. I think this is going to be one of those, when we look back, it's going to be monumental. This should be fun. You already have the two biggest stars in baseball. On the two most recognizable franchises in baseball, playing in the biggest game in baseball. Rob Manfred, whoever you're praying to, this in essence, I'm not saying it will save baseball. This will help baseball a lot. All right, and I'll end with this one. Shout out to the New York Liberty. The New York Liberty winners of the WNBA championship. Jonquel Jones was named the MVP. And I know that we don't give the proper love just universally to the WNBA. I hope this helps. The New York Liberty, one of the inception teams when they first started this thing 28 years ago. First championship that they won. I hope that this helps their game. Because if we didn't see anything else this year, we saw. I'm probably shouldn't do this, but when you see this anyway, you're gonna realize this. This just happened. Breaking news: Deebo Samuels, the receiver for the Niners, hospitalized with pneumonia and fluid on the lungs. So I don't know what that'll mean for the Cowboys game this week, but I just looked up at the TV and they showed that Deebo Samuels was put in the hospital with pneumonia. He was supposed to play in the game on Sunday, tried to give it a go, just couldn't. Whole time walking around pneumonia, fluid on the lungs. So I'm sure that he'll probably be in the hospital for a day or two. We'll see what happens this week, but get well. Again, I don't care who we're playing. I don't partake in that whole wishing evil to happen to people over sporting events. That's not my thing. But back to the WNBA. New York Liberty wins it. I really do hope this catapults or continues to catapult the WNBA. Because for nothing else, we've seen that this league has some talent, right? They have some talented individual. I'm a huge Asia Wilson fan. And she's an AKA. Oh, how I love those AKAs. Shout out to all my AKAs out there. I love y'all. But there's some more talent coming. Juju Watkins is on the way. Paige Beckers is on the way. And others are on the way. But not to poo-poo on the WNBA, they haven't turned a profit in a long time. And even this season, the WNBA will probably be like $35 million deficit to the NBA. But hopefully after all the attention that they got this year, the numbers will reflect when they do the books next year. But if I have one small ask for the WNBA, and this may also help in viewership, because I don't know if viewership was where it needed to be for your playoffs. Stop putting your games on college football Saturday and NFL Sunday. You're not going to win. Like, you're just not going to win. Like, even last night, I tried. I had the whole try screen up, but my focus, right? Like, my focus was on the Sunday night football game. Like, I don't know how you got to do it. And I know that you guys are expanding next year to a 7-game series. Make that thing during the week, man. Eat up those evening times that we ain't really doing nothing. Like, even if you put it on a Monday night, you know what I'm saying? You might be able to, you know what I mean? For the nights where games are on the other networks, Prime or whatever, Tuesday, Wednesdays, maybe give the weekends off. Like, when you're not going to, Texas, Georgia at 7:30, Asia Wilson got to light herself on fire for me to watch that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not turning away from Texas, Georgia. And it's not a knock. I just, for the schedule makers, please. Because I enjoy the WNBA. I think they have a talented league, and these women deserve the attention. But if you make me choose between a competitive game or a game that has meaning on Sunday night or any part of Sunday, you're going to lose 9 times out of 10, 9.99 times out of 10 to the NFL. It's a giant. It will consume you. And you lose. So somehow, some way, you got to work around that. You got to give the women an opportunity to have the eyes on them, but don't make me choose. Don't make America choose. Don't make us have to pick between a giant. I don't want to. I want to watch y'all, but not if it means I have to miss watching the NFL. This is a small ask. Also, the WNBA, the players opted out of their CBA agreement. They want more moolah. And it's going to be tough because, again, you come to the table, and right now, the average salaries for WNBA players are around $75,000. Like, people got mad at Angel Reese for saying, like, the WNBA don't pay my bills. And she's probably right. She's probably right. She's right. Like, the lifestyle that she lives, she blowing through that 75. Like, she was making more money at LSU. Caitlin Clark was making a brick ton more money at Iowa than she is for the Fever. So they're probably trying to get back to the table, get some more of the cut, have some more things happen for them. They got some more TV rights happening, some more things happening for them. The game is growing. I hope that it continues to thrive and continues to grow with their expansion. They're adding another team to the mix, just scheduling wise. Please, don't make me have to choose between top college football games and NBA games to watch your product. And at least in my household, with my viewership, you're gonna lose. I can't give my undivided attention to it. I may check in, but I'm getting back to football. All right, man, that's it for me, man. I appreciate you guys. Remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Tell a friend, put me in a family group chat, put me in a girls chat, put me in a fellas chat, put me in the work chat, put me in the church chat. Pray about me. Y'all pray about my show. Watch it as a small group thing. You know, you have the small groups, watch my show in the small group session. Remember, once you start carrying your own water, you will learn the value of every single drop. Don't you play about every single drop, and don't let nobody play about the drops because you've carried that water. All right, man, that's it for me. Hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Fourth and Long. Fanatic Views, hit me up. Follow YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all those places. Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. You know what it is, man. Remember, eliminate the contingencies. I'm out.